Helloooo Salespersons of all makes, models, and brands. My name is Chance, and welcome to another episode of our Objection series over here at the Sales Bible. Today we're going to be taking a look at I don't want to finance for that long. These are also known as term negotiators. The problem with these ones is they're often not really aware of what they're asking for. They're not looking for a discount per se, but they just see numbers that they recognize and they want better numbers in one way or another. It's kind of weird. I'll explain why it's weird in a little bit here. I'll also explain why they have this objection, how not to deal with it, and eventually how to deal with it properly. Now, without further ado, let's actually take a look at understanding this objection. So, people, once again, typically don't know how much a vehicle is really worth. They typically don't know how the math works on them. And a lot of people say they do, but there aren't a lot of automotive calculators that are actually fully accurate. So they see 84 months and they're like, oh, well, I've seen 72 months. So if I can get this payment at a lower term, then that makes this a great deal. And they're not wrong. The thing is it's not always possible. There are a lot of vehicles, especially in the import scene, where there's just no way there's that much profit margin in them. There's no way. It's impossible. So you have to kind of explain that, and if you do so incorrectly, then you look like a bad guy. But at the same time, if you validate it, you also look like a bad guy. So let's get into what not to do here. So do not say any of the following. I'll have to discount the vehicle to get there. If you say this, then you're just going to open up negotiation, and there goes all of your profit, and through extension, your paycheck. Don't say, I'll see what I can do. Once again, same reasons, and it just validates it for them. It makes them seem like their unrealistic expectation is actually realistic, and that is worse than going down in price, because no matter what, they're never going to be satisfied. And do not say, if I can get you there, do we have a deal? This is not an opportunity to close a person. It's not. They're being unrealistic. It's impossible. If you say this, you're just going to validate them and you're going to make them feel pressured, and there's a chance you can spook them. So do not say any of these three things. Now, what should you say? Great question. So this is usually during first pencil is when this conversation happens. I've done a video on first pencil. Check it out if you like. It typically opens with, I like the payment, but I'm not that comfortable being on the loan for that long. This is a valid concern. Always acknowledge it. I completely understand. I can decrease your term, but your payment would go up. Usually, it's best to go with a lower monthly commitment, as you can make payments against the principal consequence-free. Make sure your dealership does that. In my area, it's legislated, so it's safe to assume it always does. That being said, it doesn't apply to leasing. You cannot put money directly against the principal on a lease. It just doesn't work that way. So just be aware of what kind of a deal you're structuring. Then their follow-up question is, what about rates? This is a very common one. If you get this question, then they have dated information. So it's not so much that they haven't done the research. It's just the research they've done is outdated. So you reply to that. Loans have come a long way in recent years. Term doesn't have nearly as big as impact as it used to. If you put money against the principal, then the total cost of borrowing would be reduced. And that makes sense. There's no way to possibly refute that. That is hard, concrete logic. If they still push for it, just keep repeating this and just talk them in a circle until they see what you're saying. It's not that you don't want to do business with them. It's just you got to be realistic, right? And people usually respond fairly well to that, especially if you've done the process right up until this point. That being said, if you have any ideas, cool word tricks, questions, comments, concerns, please put them down beneath in the comment section. I always like hearing from you guys. That being said, I hope you have a great day. And as always, happy selling, everyone.